have to have the right strategy, but you also have to have this unwavering belief as a leader that what you're doing will work. I need to start leading people rather than managing people. Then you get to a size where you really need to say, hey, these are our core values. So we want to find people with those values who actually believe what I believe. So we've got 300 team members across Australia, the Philippines, Sri Lanka and the UK.
If you had a billboard for leaders everywhere, what message would that billboard say?
I would say,
you're listening to The Ultimate Leader's Edge, where we explore the mindset and methods behind great leadership. I'm Paulette Kolarz, and in each episode we talk with leaders who've learned how to balance performance with purpose and growth with culture. Today we're speaking with Tammy Barton, one of Australia's most respected entrepreneurs. Tammy's journey is one of true leadership evolution, from founding MyBudget at her kitchen table to building a purpose-driven organisation that helps thousands of Australians achieve financial well-being. In this episode, Tammy opens up about leading a purpose-driven business, scaling teams, leading through change, and staying anchored to purpose when the business grows beyond you. Welcoming Tammy, thank you so much for joining us. I'm super pumped to kind of have you here because I have watched your story ever since I followed you in the Telstra Business Awards, and I have looked at your journey and your phenomenal growth, and that only happens through building a culture that people want to be part of. So I'm super excited to hear more about it today. But to start with, I want to actually hear a bit more about the story behind your leadership journey. So that sitting at a table, putting this business together, walk me through what kind of, it started at such a passion to do something different and have built it to this empire that it is today. So give us a little bit of a story behind the leadership journey.
Sure. Well, I think touching on that I started the business when I was 22, and I started it with a strong desire to want to help people improve their financial position, improve their financial health, and eliminate financial stress in their life. So I kind of look at myself as an accidental leader. I didn't set out to be a leader. I didn't set out to be a CEO.
You started with a passion.
I just started with a passion
to do something different.
To just want to help people, and that inspired me. I wanted to keep helping as many people as I could because I saw how much their lives were changing and just how impactful that was. So when I first started my leadership journey, it was a lot of trial and error. And at first I managed people. I put systems and processes and KPIs together, but systems can only take you and processes can only take you so far. What I realised was really important was actually that leadership. I needed to start leading people rather than managing people. So what did that really mean? Actually focusing on the why we exist. We had all the nuts and bolts in place, and what kind of gets forgotten is why are we doing what we're doing, and what are the values that we hold dear as a company that drive all our strategic decisions. It should be driving all our people decisions. And it feels like that's a no-brainer. And even though
it takes a while to work out, though, doesn't it?
It takes a while to work out.
And when you get it is when the magic happens.
Correct.
But it takes you a while to and be able to articulate it and to put it together. And
I think that's the key, Paulette, because when we were so small, there was me, and then they went to 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. Everybody, we're all in the same room, basically. Everybody knows why you're there. And the values are there. But they're not spoken, they're not articulated. Then you get to a size where you really need to say, hey, these are our core values, and at MyBudget, they're we care, make a difference, and financial responsibility. And we exist, our purpose is to eliminate financial stress in the community and improve the financial health of the world. And they are the driving factors of everything in our business. So they are now embedded in all our processes and procedures, yes, but importantly in recruitment, performance management, you name it, the values are there. If you walk into our office, they're nowhere, they're not written on the wall, they're not on the coffee mugs.
You don't need to have it, they just know it.
They're there. If you tap into any one of our calls right now that's happening in our contact centre or our message, what you'll hear and feel was someone on the end of the phone who really cares about that client, and they really want to make a difference for that client, and they're teaching them financial responsibility at the same time. So those values were always there from day dot, but it's really about articulating them and embedding them into all your day-to-day structures, practices, talking about them. So we share core value stories. So we'll say, For example, you know, Paulette today, she met with this client and she went over and above, and they were so stressed that they won't be able to get food on the table. So what she did was this, this and this and this. And that is why Paulette exemplifies our core values. Demonstrates them. We do monthly core value champions, and then we do the overall yearly core value champion as well. We go out for lunch and we talk about, why did you get nominated, Paulette?
Yeah.
And they get to talk about and share their passions, which of course align with our core values. Because I guess some of the lessons learned for me was I hired some people with great skill sets. But what I realised is I can teach someone skills, the skills that they need to do their job, but I can't teach someone to care. If they don't care, they don't care, and that's our number one strongest core value. And so really that drives our culture.
You hire on values.
We hire on values. So we want to find people with those values who actually believe what I believe, that we can eliminate financial stress out of someone's life, and we'll go on that journey. And going from managing people to being a leader was then saying, this is what the journey looks like, guys. This is where we're going to be in 10 years, and this is where we're going to be in 5 years, and this is what we need. These are all the really strategic things that we need to do over the next 5 years, 3 years, 1 year. And in fact, let's get down to the nitty gritty. This is what we need to do in the next 90 days, and this is the part that you play in that.
I love that. And can you just share how big your team is? Because, you know, this is not, you've grown significantly across multiple countries. And actually, I could go to any one of your team and say, tell me the values, tell me what the business is here to do, what is your focus for the next 90 days, and they would know. So tell me about that and just how you got those messages through so clearly. So
we've got 300 team members across Australia, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, and we have one lone ranger in the UK. Paul, he does all of our recruiting, actually. So he works Australian, as best he can, Australian hours, and he does all the interviewing and all of that from there. So the structure of the business is that I've got a senior management team, and then a management team, and underneath the managers are team leaders and specialists. So specialists are more subject matter experts that have been in the business for a long time. They're very experienced, and team members can go and ask technical questions. And then you've got your team leader who then manages that team. So we make sure everyone's having their one-on-ones, they're having their daily huddles if their team does a daily huddle, a weekly huddle, monthly meeting, that they're getting all the training. So that's kind of the overall structure of the business.
I think that team leadership is often missed, and you know, you've got the expert who is the subject matter expert managing people issues, and managing people is like putting a fork in their eye. Like they hate it. And so you don't have that person who's actually looking after the human, and in this structure it enables that to happen, so you can actually make sure that those rhythms that support performance occurs, which is excellent.
Correct. So that was mistakes that are made. I'm sure lots of people make them in the early days, as I'd promote someone who was good at the job, but actually what you need to be good at and interested in is leading and developing people, and actually care about them more than you do about your own ambition, and being humble enough to put your ego aside and say, I want these people to be better than me, because I want someone to fill my role when I feel the person's role above me or to the side of me, or when I keep continuing and learning and growing. I think people can get insecure if one of their team members is better than them.
It's the motivation, isn't it? Like motivating the top salesperson into leading a team. They want to win the sale. That's their motivation. They're not motivated to help the whole team succeed.
That's exactly right.
Necessarily. So it's getting the person for the right role, isn't it?
Yeah. Sales teams are actually the hardest, in my opinion, because you're dealing with personalities that
big egos,
and so they should have, because let's be honest, they're driving business. I have got such a sensational leadership team, and they've all been in the business quite a while, but I've made sure that they've had the right support and training in terms of leadership, and that what they care about is that, as their job as the leader, is to nurture and look after their team, so that their team can nurture and look after our clients. And that's how I feel I need to be to my senior management team. I'm there for you at your beck and call. What do you need? What support do you need? Do you need to talk this out? Do you not need to talk this out? I'll connect you with the right person, because I want you guys to be as successful as you possibly can be better than me at everything that you guys do.
Yeah.
And that is my job, is to look after you.
Yeah.
And then your job is to look after your people.
Yeah.
And our people, those people are the people who are looking after our clients.
Yeah.
And delivering on all the things that we say we're going to deliver on. Because I always say this, it's important, yes, to have a great strategy, but execution will eat strategy for breakfast any day of the week.
Exactly.
What's the point of a good strategy on paper if you can't execute on it?
And it's a lesson you learn, isn't it, sometimes, is as you're growing, eventually you get to a point where you have to get people who can do stuff better than you, right?
100%.
And so those leadership lessons that you've learned along the way, what would they be for you as you kind of progress through?
Yeah, I think, well, certainly that is, a leadership lesson is actually to know yourself first.
Yes.
What am I good at? Where do I need help?
Yeah.
And it is okay to put your hand up and ask for help.
Yeah.
And delegation is a massive part of that.
Yeah.
And being okay with and setting the tone for it's okay for us all to make mistakes.
Yeah.
We'll learn from them,
Yeah.
and that is okay, and creating that
Environment.
safe space
Yeah.
where you're not going to bite someone's head off
Yeah.
if they make a mistake. And that's not my nature anyway.
No.
So, but I think people are scared to make mistakes, and then they're not going to be operating that high performance that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So I think certainly knowing what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And tripling down on that, and knowing what my team are good at,
Yeah.
and tripling down on that for them.
Yes.
And rather than focusing on all your time, if you're not good with numbers,
Yeah.
I'll give you more support from the CFO.
Yeah.
That's okay. Just tell me that, or we'll work that out. Let's not pretend
Yeah.
that you know exactly what you're looking at when you're analysing a data on a spreadsheet. If you need support,
Put your hand up.
just say, and it's okay, because that stuff's not going to last for long. We're going to work it out pretty quickly that you can't really find the answers in a spreadsheet. That's okay too, because you're excellent at X, Y, and Z, and that's what you're employed to do.
Yeah.
And I'll give you more support from the CFO or from one of our data analysts who can help you with that. So I really encourage people to look at themselves honestly, and that's definitely been a lesson for me, because in the early days I felt like I needed to know all the answers.
Yes.
So I'd try and find
We
an
all do
answer.
that. It was like trying to be perfect, isn't
Yeah,
it? Now
trying to
it's
be
like, how
perfect.
quick can I work out what I don't know?
Yeah, exactly, and get someone else to do it. And that is one of the benefits of scale, but there's all those learning curves. And I didn't always have the resource to be able to have a CFO that I could give you. I would just be like, all right, let's work through this together.
Yeah.
So I think that's certainly one of the big things. And I think also like you need to have the right strategy and systems and processes in place, but adjusting your leadership style where appropriate.
Yeah.
Because some of my senior leaders, they want to talk things out, they want to hash it out, they want to whiteboard it.
Yeah.
Other senior leaders just want me to leave them the heck alone, and they'll come to me with a solution.
Like children.
Like children, exactly right. I've got 3 kids, and I can tell you the same parenting style for all 3 of them does not work.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that either as a first-time parent until you have your second child, and you go, why is this strategy not working? And it took me a little while to work that out too, because you kind of feel like, well, that's my leadership style and that's who I am. But no, what I realised is I would have to adjust. Sometimes, I need to ask more questions to extract the answers.
Yes.
Other people will be more forthcoming. Yeah.
You've got to work it out, don't you? I think it's that you've got to move them, like parenting, from dependent to independent.
Yeah.
So we've got to work out where they are along the way.
Exactly.
And what they need to kind of get the best out of them, and what works for one doesn't necessarily work for others. So it's never been more difficult to be a leader, has it?
It hasn't. Yeah, that's right.
It's not to treat people how you want to be treated. I think we were talking about earlier, that's the hardest part, is that you think everyone's a bit like you.
Yes.
It's treat them how they want to be treated.
Exactly.
So, tell me a bit more about that.
So there was a lesson learned when I started out. Probably if I could go back in time and say, this is something that,
to your younger self.
To my younger self when I was that, everyone's not like you.
It's a hard lesson to learn, what?
But
not everyone's driven.
I
and
genuinely
dedicated
would
and
be
committed to excellence.
shocked that I would think to myself sometimes, I could do that with one eye closed and the other hand behind my back.
Yeah.
Why is this so hard?
Yeah.
But then I realised that everyone is not like me, and that's a good thing, and that is okay, because we could not have a MyBudget with 300 Tammys, because there'd be a bunch of stuff that just wouldn't be getting done, and a bunch of stuff we'd be leaning into and would be over-indexing. So I'm totally cool with that, but it took me a while to work that out, that I needed to be a bit more clearer. I needed to make people feel safe to be able to do things, whereas I would jump in. People may not necessarily have had the same level of risk tolerance as I have. And I would actually say, no, it's okay. If we muck it up, don't worry about it. We'll learn something. We'll stop doing it straight away. It's okay. Go do that thing.
Yeah.
And that took me a little while to work out as well.
Yeah.
And it was part of my leadership journey.
Progression. Did you have a defining moment where you had that, I've got to change, or did you think it just kind of changed along the way?
There were so many different defining moments, but probably the biggest thing was the fast-paced growth.
Yeah.
We were growing at 50% year on year on year. So one of the most difficult things then became actually getting enough staff onboarded, trained to handle the clients that we had coming on. And I had to actually, really monitor the amount of advertising and marketing and lead gen we were doing, because we didn't have enough trained staff. At the beginning of that, I was just trying to put bums on seats.
Yeah.
Like in you go,
Yeah.
you'd sit next to someone, you'd get your training, and then you'd be on the phones the next day. I mean, now we have a full 6-week onboarding training program before someone even gets a chance to speak to a client.
And you learn the damage of that, don't you?
You learn the
and
damage.
You get the wrong people in, and you go,
Yes, they're not fit, or we haven't supported them correctly either.
Haven't set them up for success.
Exactly. The growth was definitely, there was a lot of milestones within that growing period where we were running 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to get stuff done, and then we had to rein it back and say, okay, well, maybe we do need more than just a few hours on the phones and then that person's getting trained. Maybe we need a full quality program that can check all the work that we're doing and all the so over time things evolved, and you learn from your mistakes, so you can't take any of your mistakes back, and you also can't regret them, because there is
win or learn, isn't it? Because you learn more from the mistakes anyway, don't you?
Exactly. And you hope that they're just small mistakes, and then you've probably avoided a big one by catching it. By catching it and then making the necessary changes. Like I said, we implemented a whole quality program, and now every single interaction throughout the client journey is quality checked by our team at random. So that gives you peace of mind that the quality guide isn't so prescriptive, say this word, say this word, say this word, but the intent is there. This is what the intent of this interaction is.
Love that.
And, what's your tone like when you speak to the client? Are you reflecting our core values? Did the client get the outcome that they were looking for? So that's all part of an ongoing quality assurance program that we've got. But that came about through this error happening or that error happening, and then
needing backup of staff and needing to actually have some consistency, which is amazing. One of the things I think that is just extraordinary about your growth is your think big, like that strategy, vision. Again, 22 at your table, thinking that you're going to do something. How and what do you do to give yourself that think big mentality? I mean, you do something, you nail it, then you do something else, then you nail it, then it's like, let's do my home build, and nail it, then let's go global. It's never, nothing's ever done. It's this continual bigger pieces. What's that process of, I guess, allowing yourself to dream that big and to keep that momentum going, to be able to keep striving for more and better?
I think that's partly it, is you just, every day, you just want to wake up and be a better person and a better human than you were yesterday. And it's the same with your business. You want to keep improving and delivering a better service to your client, and for me, ultimately helping as many people as I can. And, yes, branching out into a different business like my home build, but being okay with the fact that, that's a startup business. There's going to be mistakes that are going to be made here or there, but actually going, that's okay too. And I think that's a big part of it, is just going, I'm going to strive for that. And if we don't hit it, that's okay too. But we've given it a good hard crack, and it is what we're striving for, in alignment with our purpose and our values.
Having such clarity over that helps your decision making. To be really clear on, should we do this or should we not do this?
And actually what's important is what you say no to too, because I know I have to really be disciplined with myself because I want to do everything. I want to say yes to everything. I want to go, that's a great opportunity, and I want to go all in. But I put
a filter in.
I got to put a filter in and go, these are our priorities. This is our top priorities, and this is what we have to stick to. And so, as much as it pains me, we have to say no to that. I've been wanting to open in New Zealand for the last 3-4 years, but I have been waiting until we have finished and migrated and rolled out our new platform, which will happen early next year, which is why I'm now saying, okay, now I can go talk to the regulator, get the licensing, and be ready to open in New Zealand then. If I tried doing that whilst balancing all these other priorities of rebuilding our technology and a bunch of other things that we were doing, we wouldn't have done that very well. And so it's actually about, staying really laser focused on your top priorities. What are they? What will give you the biggest bang for buck? And are all those things in alignment with your purpose and where you want to go, and the goals and KPIs that you've set for yourself? And I don't know what drives me. I just think that's me. I just want to do better every day, every week, every month.
It's a bit of the unwritten rule around you too, because I think naturally people are going to warm to that or not, and that they want to improve and they want to keep striving for excellence. And ultimately that's care for your client, isn't it?
Exactly. And we just want to do better than we did yesterday. That's it, And I think that, it's not necessarily ambition, because I always say we need people who just want to stay in the customer service role. They just want to stay in the debt arrangement team.
Employees, the glue, they just do an excellent
But we want you to do better every single day. And how do we help you with those things? Maybe it's about learning about healthy minds, or maybe it's about learning how to manage this differently or that. It's not necessarily ambition for becoming a leader or
just doing your job.
Just doing your job and just being better every day, and giving people that opportunity to learn and grow is super important, because you don't want people to get stagnated and bored.
I love that.
So it's having both those things, because you need both. You can't have everybody in the company who wants to be the CEO. That's just not going to work.
Love that.
You have to keep people motivated to want to do their job every day too, while still extending and growing them as well.
You've touched on two things I want to cover. One, I know you really invest in healthy minds, and you also have your purpose days that brings everyone on the same page. Talk to me a little bit about that. And that's kind of, most people might have a strategy day or a different piece, but I love how you've kind of called this your purpose day. It really puts at the essence what you stand for. And also just that investment that you make, not just in the physical side, but the healthy mind side of yourself and also team members. So.
Our purpose days is like a shot of client adrenaline in our arm that just keeps us, this is why we're here, guys. I do a video and it's in written form. Some people like to read, some people like to watch a video about how we're tracking as a company. Are we on track to achieving our targets that we set out, and what are our priorities for the next 90 days? And this is what we're working on. This is how we went from...
And you do this every 90 days?
I do this every quarter. And so the purpose day really comes back to talking about why we exist. And at the end of those videos, I'll always finish with a written testimonial from our client, just one that we've got that week. I'll pull it up and I'll go, guys, actually, this is what Cindy said. And I'll read out what Cindy said. Everything I've talked about, this is why we do it. This here, this testimonial, you go on product review, have a look. That is why we do what we do every day. So on the purpose day, we talk about that. We talk about these are, this is where the company's going, this is where we've been this year, but more importantly, we get a client panel up, we get our clients there, we ask them questions, because there's a bunch of people in that room who don't interact with the clients on a day-to-day basis. They might be in our technology team, they might be in our finance team, they might be in a different team that doesn't have the privilege, and I say privilege,
it really is,
to talk to the client and see and listen firsthand. And people are blown away about these stories, and these clients are courageous enough to come on stage and share their story and their journey about where they started and where they are now, and what they how we've changed their life. And it's really emotive, actually. It's not like they're saying, I love this new feature, but what they do talk about is every person I get on the phone is so friendly and kind, they really care about me. and they're helping me to make the best decisions I possibly can. And that's what they're saying. And so those days are really important. We do team building stuff, and we just make sure that teams are mingling, like sitting, you're not just sitting with your best mate from work, you're sitting maybe with someone a bit different that you haven't spoken to before, and so we're running team building activities. Literally our sales conversions go up the week after. Just, they always have a bit of a spike because everyone just feels that little bit more connected to the purpose.
So important, like particularly across departments when you grow, is building and keeping that connectivity, because that's the stuff that I think that people under-invest in at the moment, and sometimes pack it with all this stuff, but the bit that you're missing is a person and this person getting along
and just talking,
and you can learn and get so much benefit just out of that as well.
Yeah, and we sometimes most times we'll have a guest speaker, but like you just touched on, this year I focused on healthy minds and talking about what does having a healthy mind actually mean? It's about your overall well-being. It's not about being happy 24/7, because that is not realistic. But it's about going, where's your equilibrium? Like, where is that spot that you can come back to? And if your overall well-being is looked after, then you can come back to a fair and reasonable spot. You're not going to go somewhere dark. And that includes not just your physical self. So yes, it means, we all know you should eat the right things, and you should do exercise and not smoke, and do all of those things. But do we know those things that we should be doing for our mind? Because our mind can play tricks on us. Our mind is driven a lot of the time by our emotions, and our emotions are there historically to protect us. But we don't have saber-toothed tigers chasing us. So be wary of those emotions. They're not always right. They're not always right. So take a step back. And we just did little exercises where you could change the scenario. So if I act this way, I could act this way. Option 1, I could act this way. Option 2, and I could act this way, which was going to give me the better outcome, and not always going with our urges, because our urges might be being driven by our emotions, and our emotions are trying to protect us, but we don't always see the same. You and I might look at this one event, and you may have an opinion and I may have an opinion. You might have strong opinion that make you happy, and I might have a strong opinion that makes me angry. And it doesn't mean those emotions are right or wrong. It just means we have to acknowledge that that's the emotion we're feeling, and it drives a certain outcome. So we just spent time on those types of things, which again is all part of that growth and development. And there's some strategies that we shared, and we'll do that throughout the year as well. But I thought it was, especially in today's day and age,
so important. And again, it's that at the moment we find that people traditionally have left because of their direct line manager, and actually at the moment what's happening is people are leaving because they don't like the people they work with. And that investment in thinking that somebody might be doing something what we call the half glass empty, or they're cataloguing people's flaws as opposed to looking for their strengths. We call it the empty boat syndrome, where it's the story of this monk. They're sitting in a boat, he's praying, he's meditating, and this other boat hits him, and he's getting really upset and really, really upset. He's like, I can't believe somebody has hit me when I'm meditating. Can't they see that I'm taking time out? And then he opens his eyes and it's an empty boat. And so what we're seeing at the moment is people are thinking that things they're being attacked, that somebody's after them, that somebody's intentionally done something wrong, and they've got themselves so worked up. And what they think about impacts how they feel, impacts the actions that they take, so then they go on the defence. And so this whole piece of choosing your path has never been more important than it has now. Choose what you think about, and you can think about the fact that somebody's trying to do wrong by you. You can think about the fact that they're trying to do right. Which one do you choose? And investing in that is so important, I think, because I actually think we have to tell people how to be a good team member and retrain them sometimes. So that investment is just so critical.
It totally is. And a strategy that I use, and I share it with my team and with my kids, is, if someone's yelling at you on the road, which does happen to me from time to time, because I might not be, I might be cutting someone off unintentionally, and they're getting angry at you, or it seems like out of the blue, and why is that person attacking me? I always sort of think, what's going on in their life to make them react that way.
Exactly.
And maybe I need to cut them some slack. Definitely don't react back and just say, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that, because what is going on in their life?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we have to think.
Could have changed anything, couldn't it?
You don't know. They might have lost a family member, or their partner, just found out their partner's got cancer. And so I always think, I don't know what's going on in their mind. So if someone's acting that way, it's not okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to react to that, because I'm sure it's not about me. I'm sure the little tiny thing that I did, cutting them off in the road, is not the thing that...
give that lesson out, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just wish that you could say, just take a breath, because often that is about something else. Or imagine, you know, ADHD and a whole bunch of mental health issues that are coming into our workplace at the moment. And often what I'll say is, imagine, like, if your child is suffering from that, or you've experienced something, or you've got someone in your family that's suffering from something like that. And imagine that person is the person in the workplace, and that they are acting in a way that you would want somebody else to treat them like you would if that was your child or your family member, or somebody else that was there. It helps you change the lens on how you might approach some of those team issues that are there. We've touched on some of the leadership rhythms, but I want to explore if you've got any more. So you're a 90-day sprint kind of person, it sounds.
Yeah.
One-on-ones, you've got your kind of 12, do you do 12-month or 5-year out, or 5-year, 12 months, 90 days?
We do a 5-year plan, and then we'll pair them. We'll say, okay, if that's where we want to be in 5 years, then where do we need to be at the end of 12 months? And then we pair that back to 90 days, and so every 90 days we do a reset of what are the top priorities. Now, there could be some that still roll from one quarter to the next, because not everything gets done in 90 days, but I must admit 90 days is a good time frame to get, and then we'll normally break things into phases. So it might be phase 1 of a bigger project, phase 2, phase 3, and then we have got a small projects team that helps support with all of those things that are outside of BAU, because that's sort of what we look at. I don't want to be talking about BAU. BAU, we just want to get better every day, but what are the strategic things that can shift the dial? What are those priorities? What are those things that we can do to make sure that we stay on track to achieving whatever goals we've set for ourselves that year and over the 5 years? So from there, we've got that strategic planning happens every quarter. Then we'll run a monthly managers meeting with all the line managers. Afterwards, we do a shared lunch.
It's a connection.
We stand around and we communicate at the end of that, and we always start every meeting with good news. So if it's not on a daily, but like our weekly meeting starts with good news, our monthly meeting starts with good news, and through that, personal and professional, through that you learn a lot about people you wouldn't otherwise maybe interact with on a day-to-day basis, and say, hey, what's some good news in your life? So that's every month. And then it's the same for all the different teams. So they'll do their own monthlies, then they'll have a weekly meeting. So we have a longer weekly meeting, and then we have a huddle every single day. And the huddle is
by department, or you do it the whole lot?
By department, but some teams can't, like my sales team, can't do the daily huddle, and that is because they're seeing clients, but other teams where they can do the huddle, they do the huddle. So it really depends on operations, but what that daily huddle does for our senior management team, it catches things immediately. If there is an issue with one of our systems, we all hear about it the next day. Anything that needs to be communicated, or we're making a change, even though we've got a change management process, the senior management team are the first to know about it. There shouldn't be any surprises, because that is our forum. It's a quick 20-minute huddle every morning, but that's our forum to just give an update. This is where we're at. And if you've got no update, that's okay as well. You don't have to talk for the sake of it. And then in that huddle, we're looking at the numbers every day. So every day we're saying, how many leads did we get in? How many appointments did we do? What were our conversion rates? How many loans did we write? How many applications did we submit? So we're looking at it on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. There are no surprises. When it comes to the finance, we do a monthly finance meeting as well. When it comes to that finance meeting, there should be no surprises, because essentially, if you're looking at the right data, there's no surprises in your finance meeting. They're all the lead indicators to tell you whether you're going to have a good month, as long as you're not overspending or anything, which everything is budgeted for, as you can imagine. To the nth degree.
But I think that's right. I mean, for me, you know, what gets measured gets managed, what gets celebrated gets repeated, and you've got the balance of measurement versus celebrated. But the point that I really wanted to pull out there was the investment in the processes and systems to deliver the results.
Yeah.
Often people just expect the results, but they don't have the rhythms to deliver it. And in this, it's ensuring success because of the rhythms that you've set up to get to the execution. And so I think that's a really critical piece of the investment that you make, because it's time consuming.
Oh, it is to set it up. And I should say dashboards too.
Yeah.
So we're sharing a dashboard, or we just all log in on our laptops, and then, because it's a bit hard these days for me to see a screen.
Yeah.
So I'm opening it
For all of us. So
I'm opening it on my laptop.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the same dashboard, which has got all the most important numbers that we should be looking at. We can all see them, every single one of them, not just in that meeting. We've all got access to that outside of that meeting, but we all talk to it. The senior manager will talk to their numbers and talk about what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's the heartbeat.
It's the accountability.
Yeah.
You can't hide from it. It's there.
Yeah.
And everyone knows your North Star. So they all know what you're looking for ultimately. So there's no surprises.
Yeah.
So I love
and it's being okay to face the brutal truth. I don't want anyone sugarcoating anything.
Yeah.
Because we make it a safe space.
Yeah.
You didn't hit your numbers yesterday or last week. That's totally, I don't want excuses, but I want to know what happened and then what you're doing differently this week, so that you can hit your numbers, and everyone is totally okay with that.
Yeah. I love that. Staying grounded. So, you know, obviously a lot going on. You're one of the busiest people I know. You know, you want something done, give it to a busy person, but you still manage.
I just became Ellie's busful coach. I got a phone call when I was in Auckland at the airport Friday.
Talk about saying no.
Oh my God. I tried to say no.
That's a kind of cool thing too. So, you know, but you managed to, whether it's pickleball that you get in the morning, or whether it's, you know, a walk or the gym or a podcast. You know, people who say I don't have time, I'd love them to talk to you, because you actually managed to pack in important stuff. You know, you've always got time for someone, you're always celebrating and cheering and cheer squatting someone on. You've got time for fitness, you've got time for learning. I've never met anyone who listens or learns more than you. You're doing healthy stuff yourself, but you also have fun and get out and entertain and celebrate. How do you stay grounded, or what's your routines and rhythms and habits to ensure that you stay, you know, in the best shape that you can?
I think it comes back to that, making sure your well-being is looked after. I make sure that I get good sleep. I prioritise that, and then I make sure I get up and I do my exercise, and I feel good about that. And then I educate myself on what's good for me. Sauna's good. Yep. Okay, so we got a sauna. Infrared sauna, and now I'll go home tonight, and Monday nights almost always I'll have a sauna. Tuesday nights, and then as it gets busier towards the end of the week, depending on what's going on, I might not. Yeah, so I think
know your body,
know your mind,
and little steps, isn't it?
And I know if there's things that might pay me off, I try and avoid those things. I'll try and get someone else to do them, or I think that might frustrate me if I do that. So I'm not going to do that. So I'll try and manage. I manage myself. And be really open and honest with what I can and can't do. I know my business, I know the ins and outs, I can talk to the presentation, but when I was reading, I'm like, I'm not going to pick up typos. No. That is my eyes, just for some reason, I can't. So I'm like, someone else needs to do that, and I'll talk to it. And so I think it's just about knowing what you're good at and what you're comfortable with. And I'm super organised. I never used to be. Like when I was younger, I would always be running late to things, and I'd forget to take my school books. But what I realised is that it's critical.
Calendar management.
I have to just put structures around myself to make sure I get shit done. I'll write a note and I'll stick it where I know I'm going to look. If I know I have to take something to work, I'll put it in the bag that I take to work every day. So I've just set myself up with these structures and routines that help me fit a lot of stuff in my days and weeks. And I try not to anyway. I try to say no to the things that don't give me energy. It's a hell yes or it's a no. Do you want to do a podcast with Paulette? Hell yes.
Oh, because we love you. And I think it's so important, one, to regulate, isn't it? Know the people and the things that suck your energy, and be mindful of the things that can turn you, because we don't have a lot of time. We've got to be on, and to be on, you want to be fueled with the people who give you energy. And so
exactly.
But I like that, hell yes or it's a no.
Yeah, it's a hell yes or it's a no.
All right, couple of last rapid questions. Most impactful podcast, training, or mentor.
There's been so many. Yeah. I think about when I started out, when I really didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I read The E-Myth. I read Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. I read Good to Great.
Yes.
I read all the, all your iconic business books, and I think a lot of them all still ring true today. And
you could pick it up and still get something out of it.
Exactly. Like, I started my business when I was 22, so I hadn't had a lot of experience with leaders, unless you count Hungry Jack's, and then my first job in the law firms. And back then email only just came out. We're going back to the late 90s here.
Yeah, no podcasts.
No podcast. Now there's a wealth of experience and access that you can listen to people who've been there and done that. So I really seeked out the books. So a lot of it came from books.
Yeah, that's good.
But I only really wanted to hear from people who'd been there and done that. Yeah. I didn't want to hear any theory.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear about what works, what didn't work. Like you said, people's mistakes. What can you can learn from others' mistakes, and you can recognise some of those traits even in yourself when you're hearing the stories or you're reading the story. Yeah, and like when I was reading The E-Myth, I was like, that happens to me. Oh yeah, I really connected with that book. And that really helped me drive myself to put in the right systems and processes. And then there were other books, like Good to Great and Mastering the Rockefeller Habits and Scaling Up that helped me work on the other things.
Yeah, and then act from it, isn't it? I mean, I think it takes a point in your career where you go, I don't actually have to know about anything, but I need to know what I don't know. And the faster I learn that, the faster I'm going to learn it, isn't it? And so knowing that and intentionally going, somebody knows more about this than I don't, and you put yourself in great rooms, right? To be able to pull from that, and then obviously you contribute back to those rooms as well. So I think it's those groups and those people, and knowing the questions to ask is such a critical skill, isn't it?
Well, I think, and being curious, I'm genuinely curious about how did you do this and how did you do that, or listening to people's stories, because you can learn so much from it, and I genuinely want to learn. Yeah. Like I will put my hand up and say, there's so much more for me to learn. I do not know everything, and every single day I can say I've learnt something. Yeah.
A learner mindset is the best thing you can have, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you ever think you're an expert, I think you're done. Right? So, because once you are an expert, you're going to start learning some more, I think. So if a leader listening today wants to improve team culture, what's kind of a small step they could take towards improving their culture?
Well, I would firstly say to someone, are you really clear about why your company exists? Yeah. What is your purpose and what is your values? Because they can drive your culture. And because if you're unsure, everyone else is unsure. If you're not clear, so goes the rest of the company, your team, no matter how big or small. If you're not really explicitly clear on why you're doing what you're doing, what those values are, then that would be where I would start to improve the team culture. If you have those things and you're really clear about it, but maybe everyone else isn't it, then it might be more a communication thing. Like, what exercises can you do to bring those things to life? Because they generally drive your culture. And that's why we do things like sharing the core values stories, which align with hearing the story about how we just changed someone's life. Or making a difference for someone, or teaching financial responsibility. So we'll share those, and that's how you bring those values to life, and that's what builds a culture, because people sit there and go, well, Jane next to me, she just got recognised for doing this, so that good behaviour then leads to better behaviour, and also holding people to account if they're not acting in alignment with those values, and actually saying, this is not acceptable, guys. Like this, I'm sorry, this is not acceptable behaviour. I'm not going to drag you over the coals, but this is what our clients expect, or this is how we expect to treat each other. And because we all know, if you've got that one bad egg in a team and the leader is ignoring that bad egg, it's going to make everyone else want to leave, and you're going to leave good people.
Toxicity isn't caused by the rotten apple, it's caused by the leader walking past it.
Exactly, exactly right.
So you've got to put the mirror up. If you had a billboard for leaders everywhere, one lesson you'd want to share, what message would that billboard say?
I think I would say lead with purpose and the numbers will follow, because I really believe that to be true. I mean, you have to have the right strategy, but you also have to have this unwavering belief as a leader that what you're doing will work. We will make mistakes along the way, but we will get there in the end, and that's that purpose piece. And this is why we're doing what we're doing. And if you can get that right, then the numbers will follow.
I think that's absolutely perfect. If you want someone to follow you, you got to give them somewhere to go.
Exactly.
And that epitomises that. I think that ends up our little talk so nicely. As always, I am so inspired, and I just watch you and cheer squad you on, looking at the extraordinary things you do. So thank you for sharing.
And right back at you. You're amazing, Paulette. You should be so proud of yourself. I'm so glad you're doing this podcast, and it's going to be so beneficial and impact a lot of people. So well done to you.
I think if we can shift the dial, our thing is to help 500 people achieve their North Star, and that's part of their culture, vision and values. And the more we can get people understanding that and drilling it down, the better workplace, the better home lives, the better lives we all lead. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.